Favorite day, right? Cool. All right, we're gonna go ahead and get started, y'all. Welcome to Creative Mornings. So many new faces here. Super excited. A lot of familiar faces as well. Oh, I should turn the music off. We don't need that anymore. But yeah, let's get a raise of hands. This is our first Creative Mornings. Let's get a real pulse check. Awesome. Yeah, good deal. Yeah, thank you all. Thank you all so much for coming. For those that don't know, Creative Mornings, we hold an event here at Orr Street or somewhere around town the third Friday of every month. This is a speaker series. This is an international speaker series. I have some examples in a second. So there's a bunch of groups just like this meeting all over the world right now, or at 8-ish a.m. Their time, to do the same thing that we're here to do today. Bring community together and talk about pattern, which is this month's global theme. So there's a global theme every month, and you have a speaker that speaks on that theme or relatively related to that. This month's theme is pattern, and it's brought to us by our Chennai chapter, which is in India. So I will have a little blurb to read about pattern to kind of set the tone. We'll do a quick icebreaker, I have some announcements, and then we'll get to the main show, our speaker. So our Chennai chapter's selection of this theme was inspired by the art of kolam, which features patterns and dots that are intercircled or connected by straight and curved lines. These intricate geometric designs are created on the thresholds and floors of houses, temples, and businesses using rice flour. The practice is deeply rooted in southern Indian culture to welcome guests into the home and bring good fortune and prosperity. Which patterns in your relationships, work, and habits are worth repeating? Which ones should be changed? What new patterns do you want to create? So, in that theme, and this is the artwork out of Chennai. Yeah, super cool, right? But the last part of that description of the theme got me thinking. So, if this is not your first Creative Mornings, we do an icebreaker because we're a little cheesy like that. And that last line there, what new pattern do you want to create? So I took that as an interpretation of habits, customs, routines, thinking back to about 6 months ago, everybody's creating New Year's resolutions, trying to like better themselves or change something about them, right? We're about the halfway point. I don't know who's still holding strong on their resolutions, but I can tell you, I need to get back to the gym. I need to start doing that again. So that's the pattern I'm looking to create. So anybody have any habits they're trying to? Oh, yeah, we got one back here.
We actually have a really important pattern to celebrate today. As far as I know, I think it's our chapter host's birthday.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Mom. Happy birthday to you. Okay. All right. Oh, it's an apple fritter. It's an apple fritter, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah. Wow. Awesome. Thank you all. Thank you. Oh, yep, we're gonna do it. Yep, there it is. Oh, yeah.
We can't not talk about pattern and not celebrate your birthday.
I guess so. It is my birthday. The big 3-5. Freaking out internally, but here I'm happy. Yeah. That was very unexpected. I'm a little thrown off. Do we have any patterns that anybody's looking to create? Any habits, routines?
Yes. I want to move my body around more.
Yeah, right? Right? It's hard. We did turn the AC on, so it should cool down a little bit. It gets harder when it's hotter.
Yeah.
You know? All you want to do is sit.
And when it's cold outside, it's harder too.
And it's just kind of hard.
It's real nice outside.
You're right. Okay. I'm gonna move on because So, like I said, Creative Mornings is an international organization. We're in 238 cities, over 69 countries. You can see all the numbers there. And like I said, so many groups meeting today. We've got, let's see.
Fancy.
Yep, I don't know what any of those acronyms are, so we're gonna keep moving. Oh, New York City's doing a poetry open mic. Look, Montreal up there, they're meeting 6:45. So they've already started. They're actually already done with theirs today. Here we are. We're on here.
Yeah, they're in Armbrust.
Yeah.
Thank you for not starting at like 6:45.
I know, right? Yeah.
I totally would have been late for that.
Oh, we got even more here. Oh, Nashville. Our friends in Nashville are meeting. It looks like Milwaukee, Omaha. Yep. Kansas City.
Yeah, Kansas City
Yep.
today. That's what Elsa told me.
So our chapter, as probably a lot of you have, man, there's so many people here. This is awesome. You all probably figured out, the best way we grow is word of mouth and bringing friends. And so, we're really trying to build a community here, really trying to build a space where people can network without like the, weird networking stuff, even though we do the icebreaker. So bring a friend, make a friend. That's the goal here. We've had a lot of cool relationships come out of people meeting at Creative Mornings, and so that's what we're looking to build here. So please bring friends. Like I said, every third Friday of the month. Thank you to Orr Street. They are donating this space for free. They do so much for our community. If you can't tell, there's a play going on here as well.
Woo!
Go
see it.
Shout out to Orr Street. Yes, go see it.
Streetcar.
If you just want to know what's going on around town, if you just walk in here, there's going to be pamphlets and stuff. They do a really good job of promoting all the creative endeavors going on around town and in their space. We'd also like to give a shout out to Love Coffee. So if you've not been to Love Coffee yet, they're off of Business Loop?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're off of Business Loop. They're a nonprofit organization that is doing great things in the community, and they have really good coffee and really good pastries. That's what you're all enjoying today. So yes, please go check out Love Coffee and enjoy more pastries.
They also just started serving Buck's ice cream from,
Oh, that's
from
right.
the new ice creamery. So
Yes, it's so good.
Yes, they had an event earlier this month to celebrate the launch of that. Yep, very, very cool stuff. So we here at Creative Mornings is fully volunteer run. So if you are interested in helping out, volunteer, whether that be helping set up the day of, or help with marketing or logistics or finding sponsors, whatever it may be. I'm the only one getting paid here. No, I'm kidding. And so if you're interested in helping out, feel free to email Columbia@creativemornings.com or just hit us up on Instagram. So every month we read the Creative Mornings Manifesto. I'm gonna take this before somebody else does. We read the Creative Mornings Manifesto really just to get us in the mood for the day and for our speaker. I do need a volunteer to read the manifesto. Who would like to volunteer?
I'll do it.
Yay.
Everyone is creative. A creative life requires bravery and action, honesty and hard work. We are here to support you, celebrate with you, and encourage you to make the things you love. We believe in the power of community. We believe in giving a damn. We believe in face-to-face connections and learning from others in hugs and high fives. We bring together people who are driven by passion and purpose, confident that they will inspire one another and inspire change in neighborhoods and cities around the world. Everyone is welcome.
Thank you so much. All right, now for the main course.
You keep
Sorry,
moving
yeah,
further away from me.
I'm just protecting you. So we're trying something for the first time. We have a video intro of our speaker. I don't know how this is gonna go. We're just gonna go for it here.
Good morning, Creative Mornings community.
our guest today, a woman who embodies the power of creativity to reshape the world around us. As an accomplished artist with a deep understanding of form, texture, and the intricate dance of patterns within a composition, her artistic eye is finely tuned, but her vision extends far beyond any canvas. She's a fierce advocate for our unhoused friends and neighbors here in Columbia. As director of Como Mobile Aid Collective, she's dedicated to disrupting harmful patterns of neglect and indifference. Instead, she champions a model of radical hospitality, weaving new threads of compassion and care into the fabric of our community. This morning, she will share her unique perspective on how patterns emerge in unexpected places. Through her insights, we'll explore how creatively confronting complex problems can unlock new patterns of response, new ways of relating to each other, and ultimately new possibilities for building a more just and equitable world. With a heart full of warmth and compassion and a mind brimming with innovative ideas, Catherine Armbrust is a true inspiration. I'm so excited for you to learn from her story today. Please join me in giving a warm welcome to Catherine Armbrust.
That's it. I don't think I need to say anything else. Thank you. Lauren had to leave town, so thank you for that. Thank you, Mike. Thanks, everybody. Also, my friend Allison's here from Kansas City. She's the one who read the manifesto, and
I had nothing to lose.
yeah, so thank you. Thanks for coming in town and being part of the talk. Man, that made me cry a little bit, y'all. It's interesting when other people talk about you, because you're like, who is that? Who are they talking about? Also told them it was dangerous to give me a microphone, because I like to do a little song and dance action. Anyway, hi, I'm Catherine Armbrust. I'm wearing patterns, strong work to everybody else who wore patterns. When I teach at MU, the fritter and the balloon, you're really punishing me. But I usually try and dress to the theme of my lectures that I do. So I am wearing a lot of color today, which is unusual. Am I Miss Frizzle today? Yes. Usually I wear a lot of black. Anyway, also I'm in my orange and pink era. I decided recently those are my favorites. But anyway, I'm going to talk about a lot of different things and try and cram it into the 30-ish minutes they've given me. The talk will include grief and loss and also humor. I took out the part that said possibly cussing because I just, thank you. I did a trial run and I was like, man, I didn't cuss in any of this. So I took that warning out.
Inevitable cussing.
But there might be inevitable cussing, we'll see. This is also part of a much longer talk that I usually give in other places. But essentially I'm going to be talking about like my creative life and how that creative life has expanded to Como Mobile Aid Collective. I do want to give a shout out. I was not super close with Byron, but he was in a really important part of our art community that we lost very suddenly and very recently. And I have been thinking about him a lot, and this was an important place for him, so I felt like I really just wanted to honor him really quickly because he was just a really, really sweet man, and I know a lot of folks in this room probably were close with him. So cheers, Byron, rest in love, power and heart. Okay, so usually when I talk, I'm like, well, I can't, like, what got me to where I am today, right? And so, like, my childhood was an important part of my creative development. I grew up, did anybody else grow up, like, surrounded by things that, by things that had a lot of, like, sentimental baggage attached to them, like antiques, family heirlooms. Lots of that stuff was around me. So I was looking at like kind of fragile things a lot and loved them, like tons of pattern in my life. And then my mom also had subscriptions to Smithsonian Magazine and National Geographic. So I like would look through those all the time. And that sort of led me to eventually going to school for the first time at MU for interior design. Then realizing, when it was interior design, that was a really long time ago, not something else. And I realized, oh, there's a lot of math and engineering. That's not gonna work for me. So I popped over to cultural anthropology, which I loved, because everything I was interested in was about like rituals, performance, artifacts, costuming, fell in love with that kind of thing. Then later, went back to school in Kansas City for interior design and was like, okay, I do like color, pattern, texture, all of that, but I also don't care about doing that stuff for other people. I'm gonna go make art instead. That led me to art school later. But during this time, I also like to think about how where I worked influenced the way I thought about pattern, space, texture, color. In one of my very first jobs at a gift shop, then I worked at a florist in high school, and so I would like arrange things everywhere, tiny things, love tiny things. Then I worked at a florist here in college for a little while, and then when I lived in Kansas City, I worked 7 years at a knitting and needlepoint store. And so visual merchandising, arrangement of space, like understanding where objects fit in space has been a huge part of my life. Plus, like, did anyone else constantly draw floor plans of their bedroom when they were a kid and then rearrange it? I did. Okay. Oh, you did too? Good, good. So then I ended up, my husband was like, I'm gonna go to grad school, and then I'm gonna go to a different grad school, and I was like, I'll go to grad school too. Came back to Mizzou and got my MFA in fibers and sculpture, which was so fun. It was great. It was exhausting. Who else has been in an MFA program? It's like, yeah, Hannah was in the same one. But it was wonderful because I did establish some new patterns of making there that I had never had before, because I had a very, non-traditional education compared to most artists. Anthropology, that's not studio art, right? So grad school culminated in a series, like my thesis show was called Faking It. This is the old Bingham Gallery. If you have been there recently, it looks so much better now. But the old Bingham Gallery, I had a series of 6 costumes in this weird sort of like plastic Hieronymus Bosch-esque kind of installation going on that was all based on this sort of 18th century French Rococo aesthetic. But it was all about parodies of gender stereotypes, mating rituals, themes of transformation, construction of identity, and that's 2012. And I always say, man, if I redid this thesis show now, it would be a completely different conversation, which would be super interesting. But I'm not going to rewrite that thesis, just FYI. And so after that, I was exhausted, because grad school is exhausting. And I did keep making, but I made smaller things. And I had always been really interested in, again, tiny objects, right? Like, and the idea of preserving something special or sacred, or making things precious. So I kind of continued to play around with similar materials. And right after grad school, I went to Chapala, Mexico for a month and did this residency where I was all by myself in this house with a studio and just wandered around and ate like a lot of tacos. And made collages and was thinking about those same kind of patterns about like superficiality and desire and beauty, but much smaller because they needed to come back in a suitcase. But while I was there, I also started to notice the space around me more. And the lake that was there was really, really important to the economy, to the community, and there were a lot of environmental issues happening with that water. And that got me thinking about, like, I want to think about deeper things than beauty and desire, because, like, I'm done with that, even though those are real exciting things to think about too. And so I decided to put together kind of a self-directed residency where I would go and make these costumes that I would actually wear and then perform with the lake. And I'd never done anything like that before, so I was like getting all ginned up for that. And right before I was supposed to go, my mother-in-law had been quite ill, and she passed away about 2 weeks before I was supposed to go down there. And so my husband asked if I would stay, and I said, yes, I'll put it off, I'll stay. So I stayed and taught and hung out with him. Thankfully, because here's where we get to the hard part and all. Because 8 months later, he had a heart attack and died very suddenly while he was exercising. We had been together for over 20 years, and so we had been to grad school together, we were teaching at MU together, we had established our life pattern together, and we're looking forward to like what would happen after grad school. And so that changed things very, very dramatically. So This is Eric. A lot of y'all in here knew him. He's a great guy. But when he passed away, I had to really start to rethink of like, oh shit, here I'm gonna cuss, shit. What is my life gonna look like now, right? I had to reconfigure my own identity. I had to think about what making meant for me. Like I was not at all interested in making for a very long time. And I also realized that like, I don't know if you've ever lost anyone important to you, but it's really hard for other people to kind of like discuss grief and loss with you. Like culturally, we have a hard time with that. So I created this umbrella project that I call Visible Mending that's sort of based on the fiber repair idea where you like see, where you see the stitches, you see where things have gone wrong. And so I started doing a bunch of things that didn't involve me physically making things, including like redoing Eric's website to sort of curate his legacy. I started a memorial fund at MU that benefited the gallery that I ended up running, and there's now like an Eric Sweet Memorial Fund sponsored show, usually in the fall. I started appropriating some of Eric's projects. No, I curated 2 shows, one at the Old Craft Studio Gallery, if anybody remembers that from back in the day. And then when Hannah Reeves was running Bingham Gallery, we put together an exhibition of Eric's work. And I included these 2 artist books that he had done this kind of hilarious, these like projects. Eric was like interested in appropriation and originality and like, what does drawing mean? What does printmaking mean? And so he had done these tracings. If you know the 500 Objects series from Lark Publishing, he had done these transparency and Sharpie tracings of 500 cups. And I ended up turning into an artist book. Gorgeous drawings, gorgeous and sort of hilarious. And a couple of his students came up and said, we want to make these into tattoos. Can we get tattoos of these? And I was like, yes. Let me also appropriate Eric's whole project and turn it into a new project. And so on Facebook, you can find 500 tattoos of 500 drawings of 1 cup. And I have many, like, does anybody else, I don't know if anybody else in this room has one. There's probably 35 to 40 people that have participated in this. So we've built this really interesting community based on these appropriated drawings that I've then appropriated into tattoos. So thank you to all the tattoo artists participating in this too. So that was fun, and I didn't have to like, again, be in the studio and make anything. Okay, Eric had a lot of clothes. If you knew Eric, he like wore combat boots. He always had a little like keys that would like jingle through the hallway at the art department. And he had a lot of like amazing t-shirts. So I started deconstructing his clothing in order to sort of, I was like, I need to do something, but I don't want to make anything yet. I'm just going to make these yarn balls. But that sort of helped me start to think about where I needed to go. And then at one of the faculty shows, I started thinking about like reliquaries again. And so I put together some of the favorite t-shirts of his that I would never cut up. And then I made like a giant jam jar of all the graphics that I cut out of these other t-shirts. Because he had so many clothes. I mean, I'm not one to talk, so. And then I started thinking like, I want to make more, but I don't know what it needs to look like. So this is, y'all saw I'm like a maximalist. Eric was very minimalist. Like his kind of final works, especially in his thesis, were just like white on white embossed, like blind embossed prints using light to sort of reveal the truth of what was in the work. Very, very minimalist aesthetic and very little color. But I did start to think about this blue that was his favorite color blue that he used in his first master's program at UMKC that his professor Craig Subler was like, you need to stop using so much of that blue, can you do something else? But Eric called it a blue so rich it smiles at you. And so that's the color I knew I needed to use. And I met my friend Scott McMahon, who is the photography professor at Columbia College, and he specializes in kind of alternative photography, and he introduced me to cyanotypes, which is a very, very early form of light capturing photography. And I said, that's what I need to be using for this project, that's perfect. So I did put together a show at a friend of mine's gallery from grad school out of Illinois called Visible Mending. That was using Eric's like fragments of his clothes, his artwork. I used the grid pattern because traditionally grids could be seen as a way to order or control something. And these are all his plaid shirts, like made into reliquaries. He had a lot of plaid shirts too, y'all. And then a lot of like Santa type to talk about presence and absence because something is there but it's no longer there. And so that was a really minimalist show for me. And then I didn't make anything for a long time because it was exhausting. And then if you know Madeline Lemieux, she used to run Resident Arts, which was an awesome program here in town. She had this program with Clarity Float Spas. Anybody done a float spa before? Yeah. So good. So they did this residency, and I got picked for like the March residency or something, where I got 3 free floats, and then I made work in response to that. And that ended up blossoming into my Welcoming the Light series, where I was using cyanotype, but then also watercolor on paper. So it was all about light and water, and then collaging things together. Very abstract, but all about kind of like growth, right? Because I was sort of trying to move out of the dark space. Didn't totally get out of the dark space. Went to a Belka Sion show. Does anybody know Belka Sion? Yeah, no, Hannah does. I think Hannah and I were both like, what? She was this Cuban printmaker, amazing. Write her down, look her up. Had a show at the Kemper in Kansas City, and I know I cried multiple times because I went to, did you cry too?
Oh God.
It was such a good show. These huge, beautiful holograph prints. And so I was like, I need to put black ink on everything I'm making right now. So I had already been kind of making this body print series called Touched Icons, and then I just was like, black ink! And started making, again, these sort of 2-dimensional icons and reliquaries that were about presence and absence, especially like using my own body to recognize that the lack of touch, the way that the pattern of touch had changed in my life. And so imprinting that on the paper in a really weird way. And that was great. I think I finally have these back. Hannah had this in her drawer for like 5 years or something. Thank you for storing them. And that then I ended up having a show actually at Sager Reeves, and so it's better for me, like I don't have good studio patterns, so if I create a goal like, oh, I'm gonna have a show somewhere, then I will make work for that show. And that led to some more touched icons, and then also these touchscapes, where I'm using all of these same materials, but kind of like assembling them in different ways. And that was really good for me, because I didn't have to, I tend to be really heavy conceptually, and I didn't have to think about it like that. I could just sort of like go with the flow. The other thing that is really important for me to talk about is like not just being a maker, but like establishing patterns and recognizing how to live a full creative life that suits me well. Especially during the pandemic, I started camping by myself more. Like, no, not more. I started actually camping by myself. I had not done that before. And so I went to I love Crystal Bridges. I'm from Arkansas. And then I also went and camped in Utah and Colorado for 2 weeks by myself. And so I really enjoy traveling and think that that builds great patterns for myself, gets me out of my comfort zone, things like that. Being an educator at MU, I've been teaching there for a long time. That's my Halloween costume that I wear to class. Some of my old students, that's one of my favorite lectures that I give about the Ape Shit video, Beyonce and Jay-Z's video. But being an educator has like created a lot of special moments for me. One of my former students, Lindsay, is here. Thank you for coming. But that's been a wonderful pattern that I'm still doing. I'm very busy, but I'm still doing it. Former gallery director, there's me and Hannah as giant gallery directors when Hannah passed the torch to me for Bingham, and then there's me and Madeline when I passed the torch to her. But working in a like curatorial space at Bingham Gallery was also wonderful. Meeting artists, working with students really closely was very cool. I'm not timing myself at all, so hopefully I'm doing okay. Oh, hell. I'm gonna slow way down. No, there's still a lot left. So, okay, right? Been at MU for a long time, like a really long time. I'm in my academic bubble. Art. I bought a house. should I know more about what's going on in the community outside of MU? Probably. 2020 came, right? Like a lot of shit went down before 2020, but 2020 came, a lot of shit was going down in the spring. Sorry, there's one kid here, sorry kid. And then Breonna Taylor and George Floyd were murdered, and I was like, something's gotta give with me. What's happening in our community? I see what's happening kind of nationally, globally, what's happening in our community. So I just started driving downtown to be like, are people protesting? What's happening? And I saw a group that included Roy Lovelady, who's currently the 3rd ward councilman, and he was kind of leading the charge for a movement downtown, and I was like, I want to get involved. So I started bringing water and snacks, because I guess I like making sure people are hydrated and not hungry, and eventually became the supply coordinator for a group that was named People's Defense. And you know, in the summer of 2020 especially, you may have seen us marching through town or protesting by the courthouse. I was supply coordinator, and then I was also one of the drivers. So when we'd march, I would drive behind the marchers to make sure they were protected, and it was really fun because I also sometimes got to like illegally block intersections and stuff with my car. It was awesome. But it was a really special group and a really like special moment in time for a lot of people. And while I was there, I met my friend Dirk Barhands. He was doing security for us. And he started telling me about a group that he was involved with called Friends of John Brown, and how in the winter he had a mobile soup kitchen where he would go out and deliver lunches to folks that were experiencing homelessness in the winter, because like it's a lot, I don't know, I live in Missouri, it's freaking cold in the winter. It's hard to like access food in the winter, especially if you're just like doing everything you can to stay warm and survive. And so I was like, that sounds really cool, Dirk. I love feeding people and giving them water. I would like to help you with that sometime. And there was a horrible cold snap in February 2021. Like, it was so cold. It was like maybe 15 degrees for 2 weeks. And I was like, Dirk, what do you need? And so I started going out with Dirk. And then my friend Kelsey, who was also People's Defense with us, started coming out with me. But Dirk had started the mobile soup kitchen in 2018 because he saw a lack of care for folks experiencing homelessness, and realized, you know, we had an evening soup kitchen called Loaves and Fishes that had been operating for a long time, but there wasn't a lot of like available during the day. And so he was really trying to address that, at least for, you know, in some small way that he felt like he could. And so Kelsey and I joined, and we're like, this is awesome. We love doing this. We love meeting everybody, hiking through the woods to people's camps. And Dirk, in March, Dirk was like, okay, winter is done. And Kelsey and I were like, let's keep going. We're going to keep doing 2 days a week. And then I was like, Dirk, I want to start a nonprofit. That sounds super fun and easy. Let's do it. And all of that being said, that has led to where I am today. We are now known as Como Mobile Aid Collective. We are way more than a soup kitchen. We are a nonprofit. I don't know if you think you want to start one, maybe just take a beat. It's a lot of paperwork. I don't love paperwork, but we're dedicated to providing folks experiencing homelessness here in Columbia, Missouri with resources, care, and respect. We work really hard to provide timely aid, but we are a mostly volunteer-run organization. We are powered by volunteers and community partners. We, in the cold of one winter, we were all like, we need hashtags, and so Dirk would always say strong work to us instead of good job. So that was our first hashtag. And then we like developed a big love. And then one night when it was really cold and we were exhausted, we were like, let's go full tang. And that was just based on if you're a knife person, a full tang knife is where the blade goes all the way through the handle. And we were like, that's like us, we do it all, we go full tang. And I did notice recently that the vigilante hate group that hates us was kind of using our full tang to mock us a little bit the other day, but that's cool, whatever. We do go full tang though. So one of our many missions is to humanize the topic of homelessness, because like many other marginalized populations, the othering happens hardcore, right? And if you can other somebody, that means that they're much easier to oppress if you don't think about them as humans. So, everyone we work with has their own story, and there's a lot of different ways to talk about homelessness, unsheltered, unhoused, whatever. I've been working really hard to use the term experiencing homelessness, because that way, like restructuring our language patterns can be really important to minimize othering and marginalization. So experiencing homelessness means that human is going through something, but that doesn't necessarily have to define them. And I'm not like, I don't police people's language, but like I am working to try, like we are working, and I wanna give a shout out to Taylor, who's here, our volunteer coordinator. Bill is here, who is like one of our amazing volunteers. Is anybody else, like these are two of our core members who are like total badasses, so thank you for being here, but also participating in this mission. But like, yeah, we don't want to define anybody just because they don't currently have a place to live, or they're currently experiencing a lot of substance abuse issues or whatever. We want to show them that we love them and that we care about them, and we want to help them however we can. So some of our little branches, some of them are bigger branches, but of course we have the mobile soup kitchen. I do the camp routes on Mondays and Wednesdays year round, which means I drive in Barry Manilow as my van that we got going. It doesn't look like a cartoon. Oh, you know what? Let's just go back for 1 second. Oops, no, don't look. I went the wrong way. See that logo? I want to give a shout out to Bethany Irons. No, I'm going to do it. Former Creative Mornings speaker. I did not get up early to come to her, so I'm sorry, Bethany. But Bethany designed this logo for us. It was a collaboration, but like Bethany's much better than I am. So thank you so much, Bethany. Also, it features Barry Manilow. So
We like our puns.
we do like right? Like talking about homelessness is hard, so we like to infuse humor in everything we do if possible. Okay, so we've got our mobile soup kitchen. So I load up Barry Manilow. For a number of years, I just drove out of Blueberry in my car. I do name vehicles. But like we go out, we deliver food. We have 2 teams now because we started serving so many people. When I started working with Dirk, we were doing like maybe 30 or 40 people, and now we're doing on average 100 people a day. So I go out and do the camp runs, and I'm like, you might see me on Stadium, walk sometimes with my high-vis vest on, serving folks that are flying signs. I don't go into camps anymore, which is a little sad for me, but because there's been so many camp evictions and camps are being targeted by that vigilante group. And I've also been told I'd be arrested if I went onto property. So thank you. So now I have drop points where I meet up with folks now. And then we have another team that goes downtown, so you might see them like at Wabash over across the street sometimes serving folks, or you might see me if I have leftovers. In 2022, we served over 10,000 meals, and then 2023, we served over 12,000. So that's moving a lot, right? We also do, oh look, there's Bill. We do seasonal street outreach in extreme weather. So in the winter, we have our winter warriors, and then in the summer, which is happening right now, we have our aqua squad. So you might see our teams, including Bill or Taylor, out providing supplemental hydration, electrolytes, snacks. Bill is like, here's a printed menu of the sandwiches Bill has made. Do you want lemonade? Do you want Gatorade? We're always like, Bill, you're making us look like chumps. Like, we don't do all that. But Bill goes all out. Bill goes full time. So in extreme weather, we do spend a lot more money because we want to make sure people stay hydrated, right? Because frostbite and heat exhaustion are really serious health concerns. Oops. Okay, so if anybody knows Gail,
Yeah.
which a lot of people here do, Nurse Gail, we call her. She was our very first. She came to Wabash one night, and I was like, "Hey, this person has a burn. Can you look at them?" She did, and then she came back, and then suddenly others came back, and suddenly we had a med team, and now we have. We were at Loaves and Fishes over on Wilkes for a few years, but Loaves and Fishes has moved to Ashley Street Center, and now we're outside, which kind of sucks. It's a lot more work, but we're in the Ashley Street Pavilion. We bought a trailer whose name is Trailer Swift. Bill fixed it up for us, which has been amazing. It's still a work in progress, but we pop down the back. We serve first aid and hygiene out of that. We've got a wound care tent. We do thrift store Thursdays. We've got an amazing team of all volunteers. And you know, this is an old talk, but like last night I did about 42 people. Monday night we served 92 people. It was like Mondays have gotten bananas. So I don't know what's happening on Mondays, but people are needing a lot of stuff. But we also help with medical appointments, transport, medical advocacy. We have what? Oh yeah, we're also, so the city bought that shower trailer, and we're currently the only ones who have a contract to run it. So we're providing showers for folks. Last night we did 18 showers, which was really cool. And people are like, loving it. I mean, think about how great it is to take a shower. Yes. Anyway, so that has really even sort of outgrown our bubble soup kitchen. The med team is a huge, important part of our work. An expensive part. We also work with Unchained Melodies to help provide for our camp pets. They provide dog food, flea and tick meds, vaccines, help with spaying and neutering, and shout out to the Humane Society too. They do a lot for our cats, because we do have folks with cats. These are our babies. We have an ID and paperwork advocacy program. So for people we already work with, we can help them with IDs, birth certificates, appointment transport. A lot of folks who are experiencing homelessness have medical trauma and are not treated well by the medical system. And so we often have folks that will go and advocate with them so that they don't feel alone in that process. There's not really anywhere, like we have a lot of folks who have like weird surgeries or amputations or hernia surgeries, and like there's nowhere for them to go and recover. So we do have a little bit of like emergency medical lodging where we'll help folks with a hotel room. We had a woman whose tent caught on fire and she got 4th degree burns all over her body and her hands. And we did for a month, we paid for her a hotel room, and then our nurses went twice a day to clean and change her dressings and make sure she had food and make sure she was doing okay. That was really intense. That was our most intense one. We also host fun events that also help like provide supplies for folks. Because when you are experiencing homelessness, you're not welcome in a lot of places. There's not a lot of places to rest. And there's not necessarily a lot of joy. So it's important that we show folks we care about them. So like last summer, we had a bitch and bike and brunch bash, and we had like bike mechanics from different bike shops that helped work on people's bikes. And Bill made like bacon, and Barbie and Beth made pancakes, and it was just really fun. We now have our fabulous fall and sassy spring foot fest, where we do boots or like sneakers in the spring. And then for Valentine's Day, we had a taco party in conjunction with Local Motion, which was really fun too, and did like transportation themed giveaways. So what I also like to talk about is this is not like an us problem, or not like those people's problem. It's an all of us. It's a community issue, which does require community solutions. So we rely on a variety of community support to kind of like establish new patterns and make everyone's lives better. So we do a lot of community fundraising efforts. We did Como Gives last year for the first time, which was so fun and so awesome. I perhaps am a little addicted to Canva, making graphics. I feel like I'll make a graphic for that right away, Taylor. But we do a lot of like, you know, underwear drives, boot drives, all of that kind of stuff, depending on the season. We also do what we call mutual aid, which is a sharing of resources. So if there's something that we have, we want to like provide it for another social service, but if there's something we need from them, because we can't do everything, we work together. So we do a lot of non-food related partnerships with folks, especially in regards to like housing or substance abuse. And so we don't push anyone into anything, but when somebody is ready and they're like, I want to talk to somebody about housing or I want to get clean, then we're like, let's go. Let me text so-and-so. We also have folks, I have folks that come on ride-alongs with me, social service workers, to connect with people and just like tell them what resources are available. Or we have people, emailing me all the time, can I get a tent for a client? And they were like, where can they set this up? And I'm like, nowhere, there's nowhere safe to go, but I will give them those tents and they can figure that out. But that's really great to have all of these connections, especially when we felt we're so grassroots, right? We're this like grassroots anarchist group who now have made a name for ourselves, which is really cool. And we know we're making a difference, and that's so special to us. Thank you, whoever just did that, thank you. So the other things that we think about, that we talk to the community members about and would like to work towards, thank you, is instead of just cops responding in a very intimidating and frightening way to folks, especially if someone's having a mental health crisis, we really encourage a co-responder model, which the city is working on. I don't think it's happening yet, but they're working on it. I think they're not wanting to pay people enough, so they should pay people more, including bus drivers. We also support a lot of different housing models, because there's no one-size-fits-all program for anybody, including all of us in this room, including long-term like support, because just because somebody gets housing doesn't mean that they understand how to pay bills or anything like that. So people are going to be much more successful at staying in housing if they have long-term support afterwards. And then smaller localized patterns, changes that can be made, especially downtown. If you spend any time downtown, there are a lot of folks that we work with that are down here. They're not welcome anywhere, but they try to make themselves at least like a safe place to rest. And even then, they get trespassed a lot. But what we encourage is access to water, which means better overall health, less dehydration, better overall personal hygiene. You know, there's no public restrooms here. So we have been encouraging the city for a while to establish some public restrooms downtown. There's a little pushback from a couple of landlords, but overall, most of folks downtown support that. We would love to have access to storage for folks experiencing homelessness, or people who are like gadding about town here and need to just like don't want to carry all their shopping bags. And then also just more safe places to rest, because you may have noticed in the last few years, park benches have been removed, especially from like 9th Street. And the benches that do exist, they put those bars in the middle so people can't like spread out or lay down. So we just encourage the community to have more safe places for people to exist. Our future, because we're like, as we're trying to streamline what we already do, we have like our eye on the future. We really would love to have a centralized operating space that we could cook out of, have our storage, because we're sort of in a lot of different places right now. We've been working on getting funding to actually do more street medicine, where we're able to have a team that goes out with like me when I'm out on my runs. Expanded pet assistance, much expanded emergency lodging, and we really want to do more legal advising too. So that's kind of what we're thinking about. Like, we're working on dealing, like cementing our own patterns, but then like feeling, because I always describe us as like we're an octopus, like where's the gap that like this arm needs to go into, because there are so many gaps in service here. People will say, there's enough for everyone here, and there's really not. The services are really hard to actually like understand and navigate, and so that's part of what we do too, is try to help people get through that kind of thing. I did it, y'all. Okay, so how many visual things can I put on this slide? So many. Is this how your brains are working right now? No. So like, I'm ready to take questions. If you don't already follow us, we are on Instagram and Facebook at Coma Mobile Aid. Our website, which we actually really need somebody to help us gussy up our website a little bit, if you're interested in that, is comamobileaid.org. We have new emails, which is exciting. You can find me at cat@comomobileaid.org or hello@comomobileaid.org. And then we also have a QR code for donation. And I think Lauren made some postcards too that I told Mike to just start flinging out at people. I don't know where they are, but he might fling them at you soon. Anyway, I would love to cover any questions, or you might have complaints. I don't really want to hear those, but I'll pretend like I will. No, I'm just kidding. Does anybody have questions, comments? Want to throw $10,000 at me? Hi, Hannah. What is your question?
I'm thinking about just how much you do and how busy you are, and also just how artists know it's hard to maintain a studio practice anyway. And I'm wondering if this work has become the creative outlet, or if they intersect in a way that I'm not seeing.
I don't make a lot of work unless something's going on in your gallery and I'm like, oh, I better get to it. In fact, I tried to do something for this summer and I was like, I can't do it. I don't have time. I consider this my creative work right now.
It agrees.
Think? That's weird. Memories. I don't know what this song is. That was weird. I was ready for me to be done. I gotta go.
That was your walk.
This is my creative practice, and there is kind of a realm of art called community practice or social practice, and I sort of consider this type of thing that I do here to educating, interfacing with the public. That sounds like I'm a computer. We're chatting with folks. I don't have much of a studio practice because I am busy. I also teach. I was also teaching at Columbia College for a number of years in the fall, and I pulled back on that, but I do still have one class at MU, so that I can focus more on Como Mobile Aid. But I don't have a lot of making time in the traditional sense. I do love to cook. I don't love to clean. But I also again, discovered Canva, which most graphic designers would be like, "Argh." But I at least get to make fun graphics for our social media. That's I consider them collages and assemblages in my own special way. So yeah, I also need to establish a better pattern of self-care, but that's probably all of us. So yes, thank you. Anything? Ben, do you have a question? No. Yes. No.
I keep hearing about this opportunity campus.
That's a real good question. So the Opportunity Campus, if you drive down Business Loop and you're like, what's that big patch of dirt over there next to the smokestacks or the power plant? That is going to be a building called the Opportunity Campus. That is going to be kind of a new shelter program. It's taking a really long time to move forward, in my opinion. Bill's nodding we just had our core meeting on Tuesday night, and I was like, anybody have any updates about Opportunity Campus? And everyone's like, crickets, They are breaking ground. I did see that they've moved forward a little bit, but essentially the Voluntary Action Center, the VAC, is going to be running that, and it's going to kind of merge Loaves and Fishes and Room at the Inn to provide shelter and food. And then what's supposed to happen, ideally, is that it'll also be a hub for social services to be able to come meet with folks. I think that original vision that we heard about a few years ago is a little different than what's going to actually be real, but I do not have an inside track on that really, unfortunately, even though I'd love to. So, we're very hopeful and excited that it's finally happening, that something's moving forward. This city government that's happening right now is much more supportive of social services and trying to tackle community issues like this than kind of previous groups that were in charge. So I'm hopeful in that way. Is that genteel enough? Okay, good. I'm like, Taylor, you look like you have a question.
No.
Okay. Anybody else have questions? Bethany, do you have a question?
Oh, no, I
Okay.
just that fly.
Oh, okay. Get that fly. Anybody else? Art? Yeah, hi.
Hi, I'm Sarah Rimmer. How can we help you most? What do you need from all of us?
Oh no, I need money badly. So if you follow us on social media, we often make really specific requests. Thank you for that. You know, if you're interested in volunteering, you can
Volunteer at
yeah. Oh yeah, we have a new volunteer. Steph just got our Google Workspace set up, so we like have all these fancy new. But yeah, you can either like chat with Taylor if Taylor's still here by the time this is all over, or you can email volunteer@comomobile.org. So especially like in this heat, we need people with the Aqua Squad right now. That's one of our big kind of volunteer needs at the moment. Money, we always need money. I just kind of had a little freak out on Monday because I was like, 92 people at clinic. That's like going through a lot of our resources very, very quickly. But we really need pants and shorts right now. We need like masculine shorts and pants right now. So when I put out on social media with my fancy graphics, I do a lot of like, we need wipes, we need bug spray, we need shorts and pants, that kind of like, especially shorts. Especially now that the showers are available, people are able to kind of get fresher clothes more often. We need underwear. We have Monday undies at clinic where we hand out fresh undies for folks. Or if they're taking a shower on Thursday, we'll give them some undies too. But we're like rolling through a lot of our resources really quickly. So you can pay attention to really specific needs, or you can shoot me an email and be like, hey, I've got this, can you use it? And I'll either be like, yes, please.
Aqua Squad is one of the easiest things. Like, I have not this job. This is volunteer. Taylor's our volunteer coordinator.
Yes.
And during my lunch break yesterday, I did a water run. Like, it's not as fancy as Bill's over there, but when it's hot, I literally just took my lunch break, and Comac provides frozen water bottles and some snacks, and just did the route that I was given, and came back after an hour and just went back to work. So there are some pretty easy ways that are really flexible with your schedule too, if you have some extra time. And then Thursdays at clinic.
We actually really need people on Thursdays to help at clinic. If you're interested in that, please talk to me about that.
You do not have to be medical professional.
No, just like extra hands to help set up and help run the showers and stuff too. So thank you for asking that.
That's what I do.
Anything else, people? I don't know, what time is it? Oh, it's 9:29. You like rocked it, y'all. Good job, everybody. Strong work.